Well, I didn't get a lot of love letters, honestly. Ginger diabetics with bowl cuts were not really popular growing up.
So, Conor Daly, you've been coming to Freak Nation many times, and you typically know what you're going to roll into. It's not a typical interview. Like, it's great you drive a race car, but that's secondary when you roll in the Freak Nation. Now you're in our business. Evidently, you've been doing a podcast since you're like 16, come to find out. But now you're tied in with Dirty Mo and Dale Earnhardt. Has that helped you blow this thing up now with your podcast?
It's been awesome, honestly. I've always wanted a podcast, and like anytime I've been on people's podcasts, like I just enjoy, like I like what I do, right? And I like this sport. And so like I like talking about it, oddly enough. Like you guys like motor racing, I assume.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just kind of cool, and like I've always just tried to be like really honest with people. I feel like there's a lot of drivers in racing nowadays that like it's very much, you know, you say what you need to say, you say what you're probably paid to say, and then like that's it. And then, you know, realistically, there's a lot that you don't know. But like we know, and like I just try to share it with people, and like try to share it with people like in a way that still doesn't get me fired, but in a way that like there's definitely a level of being honest with people that I think we can get to. That's still like respectful to our sponsors, series, sport, all that stuff.
What it's doing for you is taking your Twitter account and your Instagram account, but 242 characters, what is it?
Oh, yeah, whatever it is now.
And you're able to expand on that to bring that brand of Conor Daly that we know outside of that little freaking tweet.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. And like I have a problem of talking too much.
Yeah.
But guess what I can do on the podcast? Talk as really much as I want. So I still have to. One of our reviews I did read recently is like, Conor does talk a lot. And I'm like, yep, all right, I'm going to try to maybe back that down here. But it's something that like I enjoy talking about racing. I love IndyCar racing. I was a fan first. I had all the merch. You know, I got the autographs of all the drivers when I was a kid. And I went to the Indy 500 every year as a fan. You know what I mean? I went to as many IndyCar races as I could as a fan. So, you know, for me, I think there's been a lot of, you know, great reception from folks that maybe didn't follow IndyCar as closely until we got under the Dirty Mo Media, you know, label. And then now they're like, oh yeah, like we appreciate the kind of look inside the IndyCar world, and maybe it's helping get some more viewers.
Who were some of the guys that you seeked autographs from before you were a driver yourself? I want to know whose merch you had.
I mean, everyone, really. I had the programs at the Indy 500 every year. I have a Billy Boat signed golf ball. I have a basically the entire like 1999 field on a program. I mean, I had everyone's autographs. I had everyone's die-cast cars. For the longest time, like I really liked the Conseco car, AJ Foyt the Fourth. You know what I mean? I thought I got the cars because they look cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was a big underdog guy, so like I was always like cheering for the folks that were barely making it into the race because that's why I started cheering for the Bengals when I was growing up because they won no games. And I'm a Colts fan first, obviously, Indiana guy. But I was like, you know what? They didn't win any games back in the day, so I was like, I'm gonna support the team that don't win. And now they do, thankfully, which is cool. But that was kind of who I was all about, and that's what I loved about racing too. Is like whenever there was a cool underdog story, it was like I like that.
So where is that merchandise? I mean, that could be your background of your podcast
basement.
now.
Yeah.
No, but that could be like behind you, the Conseco car.
I don't have enough room in a house yet for that. I just live in a modest condo, and like there's way too much stuff in my parents' basement. I know where it all is. Like we went through it at Christmas time, and it does exist down in the basement.
And they didn't make you throw it away?
No. They
Okay.
kept everything,
Okay.
which is cool. So eventually, you know, when I hopefully become slightly more successful and I can build a house or I can buy a house of sorts and there's a little bit more space, maybe we start creating a little racing room.
Yeah, but hold on. What you guys have done over the last many years with roommates and whatnot, do you really want to live on your own when you've got all these guys that you have so much fun with?
Oh, yeah. No, I would never live with anyone else ever again. Yeah, unless I find a happy lady to be married to eventually. I don't know, but I mean, I've lived by myself since 2018 now, so like I've definitely very much enjoyed that part of my life because I went through the roommate period, great time, but we progressed into adulthood a little bit more, and now I'm living by myself.
We don't grow up.
I know. I had this conversation the other day. Like I kind of still like being a kid, but like I'm 30, so like I gotta be an adult too.
Conor Daly, IndyCar Series pilot, joining us here in the Freak Nation. Let's go back to that basement or attic where all your gear is. I recently cleaned out my storage, and lo and behold, I forgot that I saved every freaking love letter from every freaking chick since I was 16.
That's
I
respectable.
saw them all.
It's gnarly. Do you save something crazy like that you might go, I don't really want to share that with people that I saved all these love letters?
Well, I didn't get a lot of love letters, honestly. Ginger diabetics with bowl cuts were not really popular growing up, but we tried hard, and it was. I think there's a lot of, I would say, random stuff that my mom keeps, but I don't even know that she keeps it. She's like, "Oh, look at this." I'm like, "What is that?" You know what I mean? But it's something for her. I think it's more enjoyable for my mom to keep things, and maybe someday I'll figure out what is all down there, but I know that there's definitely a lot of die-cast cars. I can promise you that.
Time out. What is the name of your podcast again?
It's called Speed Street.
Okay, I think
Speed
we
Street.
just found a new name. Ginger diabetic with
Oh,
bowl cuts.
Yeah. That's a segment. Well, it's a segment.
Then yes, that's a segment. It brings back the old days, and you can tell people about your old times.
Because it could be discussion
We
with...
had a glow up. Yeah. Yeah.
It could bring up discussions where it would go from hair to diabetes to redheads.
All
You could
kinds
go-
of stuff.
Yeah, you could.
You know, you
It's
could go...
just proof anyone can make it.
Right?
Anyway, just live your dreams, kids, no matter where you start.
Perseverance.
Yeah,
Who is
I
the-
literally have a wristband that says persevere on it now.
There you go.
My lady made that for me. I was like, oh, that's cool.
My lady.
Right.
My lady.
For whatever you do, General Tire delivers.
Who's the sexiest redhead out there, male and female?
Scott Dixon. Yeah, I mean, it's just it's not only because he is looks like an elite athlete. I mean, he's as successful, really the most successful, and he's got an incredible family. I assume his children are going to start multi-billion-dollar companies or be the best in every sport that they pursue.
Okay, over Andy Dalton.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Andy Dalton.
Yeah, but okay, but
It's
we're
a
talking.
sad story.
Yeah.
Well, okay,
Being
okay.
a Bengals fan.
But we're
it's like,
talking
oh.
NFL. We're talking NFL. We're
True.
talking racing. So
Yeah.
I mean, Andy
I
Dalton
do
does
ha-
have some multi-million-dollar contracts there.
I do have an Andy Dalton signed jersey. Of
course you do.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, because we got to, as a brethren of redheads, it kind of makes sense.
Do redheads look at, like other minorities, think, oh, man, there's a redhead over there. Man, let me bond with him or her.
No, I don't think
Nope.
so. I mean, I respect all my fellow gingers out there. I mean, I got this red beard in the sun for a reason. It's to glean light and hopefully maybe collect some sun. I don't know. It doesn't do well for my skin, oddly enough. I don't tan
Oddly
great.
enough.
But, everyone else can tan. For me, I guess. I'll just burn. It's fine.
It's an interesting question, though. Do you do that with fellow white-haired people? I'm just saying.
No, because there's too many of us out there. It's like, shit, I'd get tired hooking up with all the blonde white dudes, man. Blonde white-haired dudes.
Oh, you say blonde. Okay, got
Blonde.
it.
There's still some blonde in there. Grass, give me a little
Respectfully,
credit. Yeah.
respectfully.
My God. Hey, let's talk a little bit of racing. We talked
Yes.
to Will Power yesterday about the difference in qualifying emotionally on a oval versus road course. Let's give me Conor Daly's Sphinxter meter on a road course versus qualifying on oval, specifically here at WWTR.
Well, I mean, qualifying in general in IndyCar right now is it's insane. Like it's you got to be the best. Like you're competing up against some of the best drivers that have ever really driven race cars at the highest level, and especially when you're going up against Will Power in qualifying. One of the things that, like, really honestly, one of the small highlights of my year this year was IndyGP in August. Like we were P1 in Q1, and we beat Power and Newgarden, and I was like, pretty good. I felt like a good lap, and like even Will afterwards was like, yeah, man, like I thought that was the most I got out of it. I was like, oh, all right, well, sweet. You know what I mean? He's got 67 poles, and I was like, I have one. So it was cool to hear that from him, and when you do qualify well here, it feels really good. But on the ovals, for sure, it's you kind of have what you have. Like there's one window that's going to be fighting for pole, and there's another window that's basically like give everything you got to kind of just be the best you can be. You know what I mean? I think there are a few cars here, certainly, like you see there was a lot of cars in the same tenth of a second, like 25.0, 25.1. And then there was the next echelon, which was like in the 24s. And so there was kind of like you're fighting for the smallest amounts on the ovals. And on the road courses, it's still very close, but you're not going to magically find 2 or 3 tenths. You're kind of just getting the best you can.
It's more driver on a road course, obviously.
Maybe,
wow.
yes, but not in today's current era, because everyone is good. Everyone is so good, and it just, that's why it's such a team effort. Like the car and the driver have to be one, and when you are, you can be P1 or you can be in the Fast Six. You know what I mean? So everyone is so good at this level that it's kind of not. You're not all of a sudden going to launch yourself forward because of your talent. It's like everything has to come together.
Hey, Dad, what are you going to buy at the store today?
I'm out of Lucas Oil fuel treatment, so let's jump in here and grab us some.
Well, do they have the Lucas Oil parts cleaner and degreaser?
I bet they do.
Well, how about the Lucas Oil power steering fluid?
They'll have that too.
Even the octane booster?
I won't be surprised if they do.
My favorite red and tacky grease?
Yes, they will, babe.
Dad, when we're done, can we grab some candy?
Deal, but you gotta share.
Awesome! Lucas works.
Do we need more? I found that there was a lot of success this year with that Indy NASCAR crossover weekend. Do we need more of those? And can we get more of those at some places?
Gosh, I hope so. I think it's great. I love to see all motorsports succeed, whether it's Formula One, IndyCar, NASCAR. Will it ever happen? I don't know. But I certainly enjoyed being at the track with everyone in NASCAR. I think it was great to see a lot of people that I don't get to see very often. You know what I mean? Because they're on their schedule, we're on ours.
Yeah, you're busy.
And honestly, it just feels like we're bringing everyone together, which is cool. And I think in the end, like, there's a lot of our fan bases kind of get very defensive over our own regions, but I'm like, why? Like, I love all motorsport. Like, I'm a NASCAR fan. I'm a Formula One fan. I'm also an IndyCar fan. Happen to be a driver as well. But like I support it all, and I think that's kind of I wish more people had the approach like that.
Yeah, in January we're watching the Chili Bowl. We're watching Supercross.
Yes, yep, love that.
Next weekend, of course, you guys are in a couple
Rolex
weekends.
24 or whatever.
Exactly,
Le Mans.
exactly.
Everyone wants to watch it.
Yeah, you're gonna watch drag racing. You're gonna watch. So if there's a way to marry them, because in essence, kind of like what I was getting at with the Andy Dalton thing earlier, we are competing against stick and ball together as a racing family. So we got to help each other.
Yeah, someone's got to watch something too, so you might as well turn on motorsport. I mean, it's one of those things, like, even, today, the race at, here in St. Louis, it's right after the Xfinity race. And it's like, literally just leave your television on. If you're a race fan and you watch the Xfinity race, you're probably going to find some enjoyment out of the IndyCar race too. You know what I mean? So it's something like that. I do love what NBC's doing, honestly. Like, they promote our races during the NASCAR races, and like, that's awesome.
Yeah, I do.
And I think they definitely do a great job. It's just, we have to get to that next level of people just knowing that there's an IndyCar race happening.
TV shows.
Yeah.
Well, that's another 30 minutes.
Take two.
Exactly. Well, that's
And I don't want to beat a dead horse, because I hope it's not dead. But you're 30. I'm part of that generation that didn't want CART and IndyCar to get back together, or what the hell was it called?
Champ Car.
Champ Car.
Yeah.
IRL versus Champ Car.
Yeah.
I never was that guy, because I was always a proponent of Supercross, drag racing. Everything's beautiful to me when it comes to motorsports.
Yeah.
But as my generation, it was like, it was a Tony George versus, Chip Ganassi and Roger Penske. It was all bullshit. But when you can see Supercross and motocross reach across the aisle and shake hands and join,
just did a couple weeks ago,
and they'll admit they were at each other's throat. But it's the same damn bike. That bike runs indoor. This bike runs. IndyCar, NASCAR, they're different cars, but I think, fortunately, with your generation, you're helping meld the two. We've been talking about it for years, Connor. IndyCar, NASCAR run together. Let's put a NASCAR race with a drag race. But let's put Supercross in the middle of the field of the Daytona 24.
What I mean, I love all those ideas. Honestly,
why such assholery?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it is very easy for us to say, which I've now realized. Like, there's so many levels of leadership and company sponsorship, and there are so many things that are above me, right? That I don't know, and that's why, like, I know what I want to say, and like I know what I think would be cool to happen, but also I realize that I am not in that position, right? And so like I've got to believe that there are more
Shut
people,
up and drive.
Well, yeah, but like I got to believe there are more people that are like, that do think that would also be cool. But again, like there's a certain company, right? We're supported by NTT, right? NTT's our series sponsor, right? Maybe they can't go partner with a NASCAR series because they have someone that they're competing against business-wise. You know what I mean? So like I don't know. I'm just kind of like throwing stuff out there, but I got to believe that at some point, if we see a successful weekend like NASCAR and IndyCar together at Indy, which, I mean, I think it's great, that maybe there is more of that in the future. Someone asked me the other day, they're like, you ever think Formula One, IndyCar, and NASCAR are going to run on the same weekend? Absolutely not. Like, dream on. Like, that's just, again, it's a power trip, right? Like, then it becomes like, all right, well, that's never going to happen just because there's too much politics. And obviously, whenever politics come up, it's not a great conversation for anyone. So, like, it's a tough thing to, in that business. But again, in my mind, awesome. Yeah. But I also like to play video games, and like that's a fictitious world, so like it's funny.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
I think you guys proved during COVID that it's not.
Yeah.
And how it actually helps in your real world too.
Yeah, we tried. It was fun for a little while, and then I'm just glad to be back to real life.
Do we know what's going to happen with you for 2023?
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm with this team again with Bitnile and Ed Carpenter for next year, which is great. So it was a 2-year deal, which is great. And so, yeah, we have a lot of work to do in the off season, but we're ready for that. And like, it's good to have Renus back. It's good to have Ed there. It's been great to have Simona in the team too, which is cool. So we got a lot of support now from Bitnile and Todd Alt and all of his companies that he brings out to every weekend, which is really, really cool. So it's been a great group to be a part of.
How cool is that? Because we're in the promotion business where our partners that are sitting right behind you right now pay to be on our show.
Yeah.
But knowing that you got another year of financial income, you can be honest too, because I'm honest.
Yeah.
I would lose sleep. I still lose sleep, and I know we're good for next year. But for you personally, knowing that you got a ride for next year.
But hold on, I'm going to take it a step farther. I'm going to say it's not just the money, knowing that the money is there. It's also that Todd is a guy that loves this business.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he wants to do what he can to help it grow as well.
True.
That's not just money. That's a full partnership.
Yeah, I mean, and it helps the series. Like, it helps me, yes, but it helps IndyCar. If we have 2 cars out on the grid today, 3 cars actually that are all under one umbrella of sponsorship, right? It's not a completely different group. It's all through Todd and his partners. So
wow.
That's really strong, and we saw that type of strength, in the series when Target had 2 cars. I mean, we've seen these teams, we see it in Formula One. Every car looks the same, right? But they have a lot of support for that, right? But it's kind of cool and within the team to have, those are our 2 guys, or those are our 2 or 3 guys or girls. You know what I mean? So it's great to be a part of it. And this is the first time ever, like in my life, where I have been able to like go into the off season and be like, I might have a vacation. Like, literally just, like, and not think about anything because I do have a job for next year. It's literally, I'm 30 years old. First time I've ever had a situation where it's like, can't wait for next year. You know what I mean? Which is nice.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow,
first time
that's
ever.
cool.
Yeah.
Way cool.
And then April and May hits, you're going, I have a ride for 2024.
Yeah, I mean, that's essentially, yeah. I don't even think about that in February, actually. Yeah.
Way to put that in his head.
Thanks. Yeah. Actually, now I'm thinking about it. Right. Yeah.
Way to go, Kenny.
Brother, as always, thanks for doing this, man.
Thank you. Of course.
The weekend you've been waiting for is back. Are you ready to feel the ground shake? Are you ready for the sound of thunder? Are you ready for an adrenaline-pumping 3-second thrill ride? The NHRA Camping World Drag Racing Series returns to Worldwide Technology Raceway September 30th through October 2nd. See legendary superstars John Force, Ron Capps, Tim Wilkerson, Rob Hyde, and Anton Brown battle it out in the countdown for the championship. The NHRA Midwest Nationals. Brought to you in part by the Illinois Office of Tourism and Illinois South Tourism. Go to WWTRaceway.com to get your tickets now.